Well, what's the sixth lost truth? We've lost the purpose of the church, which is to make disciples. This is critical. Why did Jesus command us to make disciples in Matthew 28:19? Because the more disciples we have, the sooner we'll complete the mission. And when the mission is complete, one of the major conditions for the return of Christ will have been fulfilled. That's in Matthew 24:14. You see, what we've got to understand is that what motivates the devil is life preservation. You see, in Matthew 24:14 it says, when the gospel has been preached in all the world, then the end shall come. Well, what is the end? It's the second coming. Now, what happens to the devil at the second coming? Well, at the moment, he's a roaring lion off the leash, roaring about the earth, wreaking havoc. But when Jesus comes again, he's going to be cast, according to the book of Revelation, he's going to be cast into hell. In other words, he's on parole at the moment, but he's going to be finally dealt with. So if you were the devil and you knew that, what would you do? You'd do everything you could to stop the proclamation of the gospel, to stop everybody hearing, which is exactly what he is doing. So we need to understand this truth. Why did Jesus command us to make disciples? It was so that we can have more people to complete the mission. It's all tied to the mission, everything. According to world-renowned missiologist Dr. George Peters, he said this: the emphasis in the Bible, therefore, is to make disciples and evangelize the nations. There it is. These two imperatives must be held in constant tension and in proper balance until the total world has heard the good news of the salvation of God in Jesus Christ. And there's the reference. So what's the difference between our purpose and our mission? Well, the purpose of the All Blacks was to win every game at the World Cup. Their mission was to win the World Cup. We could say that purpose is what must be done to succeed with the mission. Mission is the ultimate goal. Purpose is the immediate goal. Now, I give people a bit of an example here. I say, at your tables, make up some examples which illustrate the difference between purpose and mission. Mowing the lawns at my place, if that's your mission, then what is your purpose? Well, your purpose would be things like buying a lawnmower, putting some petrol in it, starting it up, waiting for a fine day, moving it up and down the lawn to cut the grass, and so on. Those are your purposes. And if you don't achieve your purpose, you won't achieve your mission. So we must be clear about our mission and our purpose. Our mission is to evangelize the world. Our purpose is to make disciples. If we don't make disciples, the mission will fail, the right kind of disciples. If disciples don't know what the mission is and do it, the mission will fail. See, they're both got to be held in perfect balance. Building a rocket, planning, experimenting, reconnaissance, training astronauts. If NASA had performed all these activities, but they didn't end in a man walking on the moon, what would you call that mission? We've dealt with that. I'm just reiterating it here. Now that we've defined evangelism, the gospel, the mission of the church, the purpose of the church, and how non-Christians are drawn to Christ, what ought to be our chief motive for everything we do as Christians? Obedience to God, love for people, love for God's church, to grow the church, to see people saved, or what? What ought to be our motivation for achieving the purpose and achieving the mission? That's a very interesting question. Well, I asked people in the audience what they think, and you'll get all the different answers. So this brings us to our seventh lost truth, which I'll deal with in a minute. God bless.